Hey guys, I don't really watch shows like Rising and The Hill. I never really watched it when I was on TV when I was watching this type of stuff. Um, I file around the nation with Waldorf sometimes. I watch RT News about every day if I'm working, on the go. I'll watch him. Love RT News. Um, Rising is kind of like Young Turks and all that. This um, young, into the news type stuff. I guess you'd say kind of trendy news stuff. As you know, Crystal Ball and this Indian guy was running the show. I guess they moved on. Now it's Emily Jasinski and Ryan Grimm or something like that. Ryan Grimm. Ryan Grimm's on the left. Emily is on the right. I guess she's an editor for the Federalist or something like that. That's a constitutional reference. We're talking about Ilhan Omar's comments on American atrocities. And I think I spoke about this in an earlier video, how to me, I'm on the left, I'm entrenched, I live with my enemy, I live with people that nothing with whatsoever. And what I'm saying is, you're not going to hook me into this respectability politics when it comes to leftist figures who are trying to make a point. Even if they say something wrong, you because I understand that my enemy is so much worse. You understand? It'd be like if you had a police chief that maybe said a few things like that were, wrong, but he had good intentions and everybody knew it. He was like doing things against racism, doing things. It's the same thing. You're not gonna hook me into this. Ooh, well, she's anti-Semitic because you're not gonna do that. No, it's the same thing with the Christian stuff. Talking about you guys supported a man who fucked a porn star while his wife was pregnant. You take your morals and you can take them somewhere else. Find another sucker. I ain't interested. But I knew this was going to happen because when you're on the left and you're an American politician and you're talking about why the world is the way it is, eventually you have to deal with the gorilla in the room, which is our history of empire and the history of the West's empire. Not too long ago, talking about stay on subject. Ryan Grimm laid it out succinctly. He talked about how the U.S. government brought Nazis back over here. He talked about how you had the rat lines. He talked about how he talked about how the Russians really are the ones that fought the war, and how Americans didn't even get into war till 1941 after Pearl Harbor. It was June, July of 41. Um, he really got into the finer points of the stay behind forces, Operation Gladio. Look that up. He didn't mention us by name, but I knew what he was talking about, and it shocked me as a person who's been out of American media I've been out of American media for a long time. A long time, over a decade. I don't listen to American music, none of it. You can keep that warmongering propaganda shit and you can shove it up your ass. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Democrat, not at all. I've spoken on that before. It shocked me to see someone talk like that. And I just was left with the I was left with the notion that we're living in a different social era now than the 2000s. Republicans talking about the Palestinian plight. Ilhan Omar, elected official, speaking about America's crimes and equating them to Hamas and stuff. And this guy on Rising talking about how America took Nazi officials and used them in the Cold War. And that came to my mind. I hadn't even heard him talk about it. That what about all the rich billionaires in America that funded the Nazis? Prescott Bush, George Bush's granddaddy. IBM Corporation set up the Hollerith machines. They had punch cards for everybody that went into the concentration camps. Warehouses full of them. Henry Ford was supporting them. There was some kind of a cult, I think, in Florida or something that was like they were hoping Hitler would win, and they had like these shrines to Hitler, and it was after the Pearl Harbor that the FBI struck down on them. I think people have this idea that America was just united against Hitler, and that that's not what happened. This idea that America was just pure, and no, that's not what happened at all. No. I just think that I don't watch Majority Report in aftermath of Michael Brooks' death. It's very hard for me to watch that. I want them people to make it, but it's hard for me to look at that. It's like a person whose parents die. And every time you look at the parent, every time you look at the child, you think about the parents. It's like that. It's like, I want the child to succeed. I want them to win and grow, but man, I'm still hurt that your parent passed. I don't know. I just think that we're living in a new era. I never thought I'd see Israel investigated for war crimes. I never thought I'd see that. It's just, even to a certain extent, the Epstein stuff. That stuff. I never thought I'd see that stuff. It's just a different time, and it makes me kind of proud to see stuff like that. That it isn't. I talk often about the hysterical left, which is defund the police and we need to legalize marijuana, and it's just like it's hysterics, and there's no long plan. There's no thought out notion of what the future should look like for the left, and I don't like that. I don't like it, and not dealing with the systematic nature of white supremacy, dealing with like the social fabric of the country. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with topical matters. I don't like that. And I've gotten older. I've seen that, and I think to a certain extent, I think the right kind of like, there's people on the right, I think, behind the scenes that kind of like make it that way. There's like, okay, we'll give you gay marriage. We'll give you, things that don't really matter. That we wanted to give to you 10 years ago, but there was no push from the people to do it. And now the people want to do it. Yeah, gay marriage, go ahead. In fact, I'm gonna throw you some money so you can have some events and stuff. Here, it's $20 million. Boom. That's fine. You guys want to legalize marijuana? I'll support it. Here, it's $20 million. So that they can, do other things that are more deleterious to the public interest, pollution and things like that. I partly that's because we're so socially backwards that I understand people, they get mad when I talk like this, like with Obama being elected, the first black president, and then Cornel West suing them, Chris Hedges suing them, and people get mad about it. I get it. I can see both sides of it because I can understand how people have been put down and pushed down and abused for so long, and looking at what these things represent. Pete Buttigieg, the gay dude running for president. I mean, I understand that was a big step. Didn't like him. Don't like Kamala Harris. Don't respect him. But I understand what those things mean and what they represent socially. And that's what I'm talking about here with Ryan Grimm and Emily, whatever her name is, whatever her name is. I get it. I don't know. Thank you for listening.